Welcome to the Weekly Rundown. I'm Stephanie Monge. This week we have a special guest with us, Kellee Mikuls, a remarkable entrepreneur who recently faced the difficult decision to close her business. We are going to share a little bit about Kellee's story and the lessons that she learned through this process. Welcome, Kellee.
Thank you for having me here.
So at Silicon Prairie News, we've been following along the Swishboom story. Can you tell us a little bit about the business and what led you to start it in the first place?
Yeah, so I decided to close Swishboom because we ran out of money. We had a lot of interest and contracts from businesses in Nebraska, but with the economic conditions, they needed to put budget freezes on those contracts. And with that our road to profitability was bleak. And we just didn't have the traction that we thought with companies signing up and offering Swishboom as a benefit to their employees.
Tell us about the app. What did the company actually do?
Yeah, so Swishboom went out and recruited and vetted the best local babysitters and childcare providers so that when families posted a job, it would get claimed in about 5 to 7 minutes. And companies could offer Swishboom as a benefit. And that's really where we really pivoted after COVID to have the employer be more involved in being part of the childcare solution.
So what led you to start it in the first place?
Well, I'm a mom of 3, and I was busy, and I found that I kept running into the same wall where my sitters weren't available or I didn't know people to ask. And so I built it selfishly for myself and to make my life easier. And I found out that other people had the same problem and that they were struggling. And so we went out and really made the push. We raised money and made the push to make Swishboom a success.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, what have you learned through this whole process?
Well, I think it's like day 7. It has been the hardest thing that I've ever had to do in my life. But I feel like I've learned that I can do hard things. I never followed tech companies. I was a commercial real estate broker. I was a mom. I wasn't someone that ever thought that I could get into the tech space. And so I learned that I can do things that I don't normally think I could. I learned, that being authentic and being vulnerable is much more social credit than having high returns and high revenue, because the biggest thing out of this fallout for me has been people supporting me, people wrapping their arms around me. And that's honestly the reason I'm willing to do this, is to say thank you to all the people that believed in us, that supported us. SPN has done articles about us that have helped us get in the door at places that we otherwise wouldn't. Yeah, I've learned that being a good person, being vulnerable, it will pay off. And I do believe that will be the ticket for me going forward personally.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know that this is a very raw time because it's just happened.
Yeah.
Is there anything looking back that you would have done differently if you were starting out today?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I mean, I think the, ecosystem in Nebraska is trying to be better, right? I mean, there's Invest Nebraska, who I'm so grateful for, the Nebraska Angels, who I'm so grateful for, that have invested in Swishboom. But the outcome that they're expecting with their investment isn't sustainable. You are expected to get a 10x return, in turn growing 10x of where you're at, with a limited and finite amount of resources. So I hope that people who were, inspired by Swishboom are equally charged to try and help the next Swishboom or the next Kellee be able to have realistic resources to achieve their goals. Mm-hmm. What we built at Swishboom has the potential, and I still believe in it, to be a huge company and a big concept. I just don't think that we had the funds to make it possible. Mm-hmm. And so in hindsight, there are things I would have done differently. as it came to raising money. I would have managed the expectations of myself and my team of what we could have realistically done with the resources we had. So it's hard. It is so hard to focus on not only trying to secure capital to fund your business, but also operate a business that is efficient and being a steward of that capital in a way that makes sense. Are you hiring too many people? Are you spending too much money on marketing? Are you not taking a risk where there's an opportunity? I mean, it's really hard. And so the other thing I would have done is taking capital with an advisor, or I know Proven Ventures is in town, and that opportunity now seems like it could have been really helpful to not just have capital, but have that support.
You mentioned that there had been maybe some interest in other folks acquiring the technology or the company. Is there anything you can share related to that?
Yeah, we've had, like I said, I think they were on day 7. We've had maybe an inquiry a day on someone buying the tech stack, on someone buying the brand, different companies, large, small. I don't really know how to sell an app, and so I'm actively learning it. Now I have pivoted from growing my business to now disposing of my business, and I don't know what that looks like. So if I reach out to people, it might be just to understand that, who've been through that, because there's really no resources in place on how to do that, and so I'm trying to figure that out. And but yeah, there's some interest. People really do believe about the childcare, that the childcare crisis is real, and so I'm happy that there's some activity on that.
I know that it's really early, and I'm sure you've gotten this question a lot, but do you have any idea what's next for you?
I really don't. I'm pretty, it feels a little bit like a fog, of trying to put one foot in front of the other. And I don't know what I want, but I can say the things that I've loved from being in this community is I feel like I have to do something within this community or in a similar space, because the people have been so authentic and so kind. And so I don't know. I think I'm still processing it, and everyone seems to say that it takes time. It's a loss. Every single day I showed up trying to throw things at the wall to find the thing that makes it stick, and eventually you just stop and you give yourself grace to say, it's not going to be me that's going to carry this baton. So right now my efforts are finding out who the next person is to carry this, and if there isn't, finding out what that means for me and my family.
Kellee, thank you so much for being authentic, for being candid, for sharing your story. You've made so many wonderful contributions to this community that I know will continue to inspire many folks beyond Swishboom.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us today.